We know what you've come for, and now we're going to give it to you. You're listening to the No Such Thing podcast.
Hello everybody, this is Cornell from the No Such Thing podcast. Thanks for joining me, great to have you. As always, like and subscribe my videos on YouTube and pay a visit to the Podbean app, No Such Thing podcast.podbean.com. That's the audio only version. We have a guy from Georgia by the name of Tony, and he's a truck driver and he's had quite a few experiences with Bigfoot. Also some Dogman thrown in there as well, so that'll be interesting to hear about. But hope you enjoy the show, folks, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks for coming on the show, Tony. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yep, pleasure to be on the show.
Now, yeah, I found you through the Bigfoot Canada website. That's probably why you thought I was from British Columbia. But no, I'm down here in Central Mass, and you have your own Facebook page as well. Do you want to tell us about that?
It's called Appalachian Bigfoot and Dogman Research. I started it in 2013, October, around that time after I first seen the first Bigfoot live and up front within about 6 feet from me. And I started it just to keep my research and try to get people's sightings and where they've sighted them at and what they look like, approximately size and weight maybe, and what direction they might be facing or heading to, and then it went from there to a lot of people started wanting to join, and so I said the more the merrier. I couldn't turn down anybody that wanted to be by my side, posting stuff about anything about Bigfoot. I've got doctors, district attorneys, lawyers, and military service, and football coaches, truck drivers, and all sorts of 5,200 people, I think, since 2013.
Yeah, it's a big group. Now, you're from Georgia and you're a trucker, right?
Yep.
Now, these sightings, I know you told me a little bit about it before. Is this all around the same area, or did you see these? Do you have these encounters in different places when you were truck driving?
I used to drive for a company. For 5 years, I was running from northwest Georgia to South Carolina, North Carolina. I delivered either state, pick up either state, and come back. And then about 4 years ago, I started with another company. I run to above Nashville into Kentucky to Franklin, the Horse Cave, about 2 hours, 1 hour and 2 hours into Kentucky, and then I run back to northwest Georgia. So I've been running the interstates more or less. Atlanta, northeast, up I-85 into South Carolina, North Carolina, and back, the same route. And then I-75 up to 24 west to Nashville, and then 65 north up into Kentucky and back, the same interstate. I drive about 444 miles a day.
So basically you're on the road, and you're on the road late at night as well. I've heard a lot of truckers have experiences and stuff because, they're out there but nobody else is.
Yep. I drove, I think it's documented over 124,000 miles last year.
Wow, I do 30,000 miles a year. That's a lot. So do you want to walk us into, let's go back to the start, Tony. Just walk us into the first encounter. Just paint the picture for us and walk us through it.
Okay. See, I got a map here in front of me. I got the dots on them, kind of keeping track of them a little bit for my personal. And I was here in northwest Georgia driving for a company, and my dad, he comes down from Ohio. He said that he had seen one, and he makes a facial expression that he was serious. So I started looking for him, and then I was running up the same interstate, same times of the day, and so I started honking my semi-horn at anything I thought possible that might be a Bigfoot hiding, in the foliage, not out in the open. And I did that for several months, and then one day I was coming back from South Carolina down that way, and I was coming down I-85 heading southwest, and it was pouring down rain, and just come out of the wall of rain. The rain was heading west. I was going southwest. I just come out of the rain was coming behind me, and it was heavy downpour, and I cleared off my windows, and then I looked down my gauges. I seen something out of my peripheral view to the right side, and there's a grassy knoll all the way down through there, and I looked, and it was a Bigfoot running alongside of me, probably about 8-9 foot tall, I'm guessing, reddish brown color. It come down the grassy knoll, and then it cut right alongside my semi front bumper, and it was running alongside my front right bumper. And I was looking at it, watching it, and I knew a lady was behind me. I could tap on the brakes just a little bit and get away with that, and then keep rolling. And so I tapped on the brakes. It got out in front of me a little bit, and I was looking. I thought Bigfoot, and I looked down at his feet for some reason, and I was like, oh, it was all covered in hair. You could not see the feet. You could not see the shape of the feet or anything. It was just like long hair, like ankle down. And then there was long hair on the back of the head and the neck. And it was running so fast. The interstate right now through there is like a roller coaster. When you get to the top of the hills in a semi, you're loaded down. You might be going 45. And the hair on the back of the head and neck is about 20 inches. And it was straight back like somebody on a motorcycle. It wasn't waving up and down. It was running fluently. And it was straight back, pointed straight back. And it wasn't falling. The hair wasn't falling. It was just... and then I started rolling forward a little bit faster, coming down the hill. And then about that time, I was thinking, that thing is so close, you could cut the wheel right and probably hit it, And then at that time, it cut right and went back up in the grass. And I was so excited I couldn't pull over anywhere. There's not enough room for a semi to pull over down through there. And it just made my day. It was October 2013. It was beginning of the month. And after that, I felt like selling both my cars and putting all my taxes in the bank and rolling out into, on foot with GoPros until I get the world's longest video, because I would have gave both my legs for that video that night. Right. If I had a dash cam.
Yeah, I hear you. It'd be great if you could make money at this stuff and just do it full time. It's amazing. Now, so this thing was running 45 miles an hour?
Yep, I'm guessing. And it was daylight, and it was right there on the right side of my front right bumper. Just clear as daytime. It had short hair all over its body, kind of long underneath its arms and the back of the head and the neck. And it was 2 feet, and it was running on 2 feet, and it was...
Now, did you see its face?
Sort of like if you see a giraffe or something I was taken back with the sighting, it kind of threw me into like, this thing is just, it's in its own... Seemed like it should be in another world, full of forest or whatever. I don't know. But after that, I started that website, and then sure enough, I've seen probably around a dozen since then.
Wow.
I might see. There's a occasion where within a few months' time, I seen so many. I had anxiety. When I come out of my house, I was looking towards the woods because I know how fast they run, and it seemed like nobody either believes you or if it was invading species or who knows what, nobody knows. I was coming out of stores and looking towards the woods, seeing if I see one, and I'm always looking now. And I've seen what they call the wolf man. I've seen 2 of those. That was near Nickajack Lake in Tennessee. I seen a shadow, the silhouette, right next to an exit. It was about 3 in the morning, and then the other 3 in the morning, I seen one that was coming down northwest Georgia. I was heading south. I just picked up the load, and I was watching inside the tree line because my headlights was shining inside the tree line, and I was looking for more or less pitch black Bigfoot standing right there in the tree line, maybe going across it or something. And my headlights was shining to the side a little bit. The side of the headlights was shining inside the tree line, so I was watching, and then out steps right ahead of me a walking upright wolf with the chest. It was facing away from me, looking down the road. I'm not sure if it was going to cross after me. Didn't care if me the driving the first semi or the semi behind me, if we seen it or not. There was cars way down the interstate coming north, but they was way down there, and I didn't know if it was going to cross or if it's looking for deer to eat alongside the interstates at night. And I hit my brakes, and you could hear the semi brakes hit, and the whole woods lit up red. And it turned around, took one step back towards the woods, and about 4/5 of his body still outside the woods. And it was watching me as I went by. It had dark gray colored skin, chest and arms, real long arms, and it had looked like a huge a wolf head, like a jackal. Looked like a jackal's huge head, and it was standing on two legs. And studying Bigfoot over the years, I couldn't help but run onto stories of them. And I seen map of them all over the United States here and there as they cross the road. People seen them cross the road and stuff.
Yeah, Georgia seems to be a bit of a hot spot, doesn't it?
There is actually 2 sightings that was reported to this lady's map that described the features the same as I seen it. That was just west of there, about 20 miles in northwest Georgia, close to Cassville, Adairsville, Cartersville area. I'm not sure if they were seen alongside the interstate or not. I was in North Carolina one time, and I was coming back with a load, and I looked up this power line clearing, and there's a little juvenile Bigfoot black running down the power line area, and it curved like a J shape out into the woods. I passed the first exit. I said, heck, would I turn around, the next exit, come back, parked in, I think it was like mile marker 7. There's a old hotel shut down there, and I pulled in there, and I walked back behind the hotel, and there's a valley down through there, and there's a deer that was down there. And I think it must have been chasing that deer. I didn't see it. And then a young kid is walking back through there, taking groceries from a little store, gas station that was there, back to his house. I told him what I was doing in there. And he said he's seen some shows on TV and everything, and he said that something was throwing rocks at him the other day when he was walking through there.
Wow.
And then I was going to stop back by, but I was going to wait till it snowed so I can look for some prints possibly. And there was an old house that was there. They tore down, but there's a barn that was there with some hay in it that it could lay in. But I did find a footprint underneath the water, a mud puddle. It was shaped like a foot, and I put my fingers down in there, and you could feel the toe imprints in the mud. And I took a snapshot of it, posted on the wall for safekeeping. And I seen one crossing a lake down there, right there at the Georgia-South Carolina line on I-85. And it was about a foot underneath the water. And its head was up above the water, but you could see the body underneath the water is about a foot deep, whole body, and like a log floating across. And then I pulled off the bridge, and then alongside the interstate, you got them grooves that makes a lot of noise, and I ran back to the middle of the bridge, and it was gone. And That was probably about 8 or 9 foot too. And then I was riding along one day, and that was North Carolina, South Carolina, and I dropped down to northeast Georgia on I-85. I was riding up through Jefferson, Georgia, and it was rush hour, back-to-back cars. There's nowhere to pull over at, and there's an exit there. And as I was coming underneath the bridge, you look to the left, and there's an off-ramp there. And above that off-ramp is about a 100-foot embankment. And there was a Bigfoot standing there. I mean, he was huge. He was black. It's like he didn't have a care in the world. And he was standing there proud as can be. And it was unreal. It was unreal. I just couldn't believe it. I shook my head, and I couldn't hardly sit down in my seat in the driver's seat of the semi. Every exit down through there is like 20, 30 miles to the next exit. And I stopped back by there maybe about a week later, and I went down a truck stop, and I hiked all the way up to the woods, and I looked at these trees, and pine trees, and there were some branches tore down here and there on different sides of different trees. And I just couldn't believe it. And then I seen one in Calhoun where I live. I was taking my daughter to her mom's house over here off of 225. There's a golf course over here, and there's like an old Indian place there. That's where one of the places the Trail of Tears started. And they got some old houses there and everything you can pay, go in and look. And then I seen it standing back at the corner of the tree line, and looked like it was, like I thought first thing it might have gorged itself on something, possibly a dog in my imagination. But and then I told my daughter, I said, "There's one." I said, "Look," and she didn't look when I told her to as quick as I wanted to. And then we got a little bit down the road, and it kind of, the tree line curved around, and she couldn't see it when I pulled into entrance at. And then she was yelling to go on, and then I come back and I walked in, and I couldn't find it. And I was thinking maybe later it was pregnant. It looked like it had a distressed look on its face. It was probably about 6 foot, 5.5, 6 foot, and it looked like it was missing hair along the side of it, and it kind of matted out on the sides. Maybe it was been laying in some dirt cave or something. Might have been laying on that side for so long. Maybe the baby felt comfortable laying on that side, you know.
Huh.
It looked like it had distressed look on its face. I mean, the belly was popped out there. Maybe it was getting ready to have a baby, you know. And I hiked around through there, and I couldn't find it. And then one day I was heading up there, I-75, where I-75 and 24 split at, right there in northwest Georgia and Tennessee. There's a place where there's a rest area right there on the right side of the road, on the east side of the interstate there. And now they got a Bass Pro Shop there too, and a little putt-putt golf course looking. And then there's a power line clearing down through there, and there's high grass. And I seen one sitting in there. It was black. It's kind of wide, but it was shaking its head back and forth real erratically, back and forth, back and forth. I said, no human does that. I mean, it's like switching its head back and forth, all way as far as it can switch its head back and forth, back and forth. And then the land was cleared out all the way to the little road that goes back into the recreation area. All behind there is no hunting area. They got a few walking trails. The dirt gives you a warning. Spray some mosquito spray on you. And they got swamps and creeks and everything else back there in the back. But it's mainly a recreation area for, if you get over there towards the buildings, it's soccer fields and stuff like that. And anyway, a car was coming in that road going back to the recreation area, and it fell back like it didn't want to be seen. And I went ahead and took my load where it needed to go, and then I come back, and then it must have been a few days later or a week later, and I drove up there from my house about 45 miles up there, and I hiked in, and then always carry a Glock 45 and a backpack and some snacks and stuff like that. I hiked for 6 hours at a time, a few times. But it's like there was footprints all over the place. It's like they've been in there a while, and I guess nobody probably thought about the footprint being, different, except, it was a little bit more or less like average footprints. It was the big one. He wasn't laying his footprint everywhere, and there ended up being two there. I had a guy from Wisconsin. He's an oil company owner. He flew in. He couldn't make it the first time, and then the second time he flew in. He had night vision scope. I learned how to use that on YouTube before he got here. So, and then we went in during the daytime. We was taking pictures of footprints and everything, and then at nighttime we went in. I told him, I said, I've never been in here at nighttime with them. I said, I don't know what they do. I said, if anything goes down, we all walk out at the same time, and you get behind me, and I got the gun, and I said, we just walk calmly out. And so the guy, I brought a guy he grew up with, and he brought his fiance with, and then we went in, and then the guy that grew up with, he hit his a tree with a stick, real loud pop, and then they got a pop back, a response, sounded like the same type wood knock. It must have had a stick in its hand. Who knows? It just happened so quick. The response was so quick. So they did that twice, and it responded back twice. So we walked on further up the little dirt drive there that shut off from the main road, and there's a clearing back there where it floods and then recedes, floods and recedes. So there's not really a lot of foliage there, and you can see a pretty good distance back in through there. You might be able to get a look at it. And I wanted to use that night vision scope back there. And then we was back there and we couldn't find it. And then we stayed on the road right there. And then the guy that did the wood knock, he yelled with his hands. And that little one yelled that did the wood knock, the reply wood knock, he yelled. And then not less than a few seconds later, a giant yelled. He was probably about 60 yards out, and when he yelled, I could not believe it. I mean, this thing was huge. I said, golly, man, this thing is huge, right? And so we stayed there, and we kept looking with flashlights and the same area right there, and looking with the night vision scope and everything. And then within a few minutes, that thing had probably crossed creeks, swamp, around low brush area and all that stuff. In a few minutes, it was running like at an angle, probably about 20 yards from us or less. And it's like a long yell. I said, sound like it's coming in, And then so we waited and looked through different trails that went different ways with the night vision scope, and never did hear or see anything else. And we eventually started making our way out. We stopped there in that power line area, and it was about 80, probably about 120 feet to the creek there. The oil company owner, he was looking through that night vision scope, and then he spots it, the giant. He's looking back behind a tree and waving back and forth, they're like rocking back and forth, looking behind the tree and back out. And he was describing himself. He said, I see it. He's rocking back and forth. He said, he describing his hair on the back of his neck was standing up and all kinds of what he was feeling. And then he handed me the scope. I was right next to him, and I was looking. I couldn't find it. I didn't know if I was looking to the right too much. I handed him back to the scope, and he couldn't find it. And we walked out. We all walked out. And the next day we come up there, and we got a picture of him standing in that same spot, holding a stick up. How tall he thought it was. And you could see all the tall grass just all mashed down right there where it had been. I'm not sure if it laid down or what, but it was all mashed down right there. And I hiked in there later by myself. There's a creek that runs along underneath the interstate there, and it goes to another area on the left side. They built soccer fields there now, but there's still creek and a lot of that area, and it was before the soccer field was there. And I was hiking down through there by myself in the rain, thinking I might get a drop on them, or they might not see me or smell me. And I took a selfie right next to this tree break, and then I walked on, and then I found a big footprint next to the creek, and it was pouring down rain, and I hiked back up to my car. I had a little Honda at the time. I drove the Honda all the way down there as far as I could get because it's all ruts and people four-wheel drive down through there. I had the plaster cast in my car in my trunk. So I get the big footprint. It looks like a big toe hanging off to the side of it. So I start dipping out the water, all the water I can get. I got a red bucket. I mixed the plaster cast in creek water that was right next to there. I poured it in, and there was an old TV that was broke over right next to a fence area. I got the back off of it, and I put it over top of it because you can see in my cast it's rained on. I think Jeff Meldrum, he took a look at it.
Oh, really?
At a Bigfoot museum up here in northeast Georgia. Here it's Cherry Log, Georgia. They know me right when I walked in. They knew my name, and they let me go through for free and everything the first time. And but they I got that cast. I cast it and pulled it up. About 20 minutes later, I seen another footprint off to the left, right next to a creek, and I didn't cast it. I didn't think it'd be a good cast, and but it was huge. The foot was huge, and then I put it in the car, put a plastic bag around it, and went to the house. The next day, I sprayed off with a water hose, all the dirt and mud I could get off of it, and I looked. And there was two footprints. It was the larger Bigfoot and the smaller Bigfoot. The smaller Bigfoot made its footprint right next to it. I mean, it's like 2 inches deep into the dirt, but it was both of their feet printed right next to each other. I thought it was a toe, and his footprint is 20 inches long, about 8 inches wide. And imagine the heel of it. The heel is huge.
Wow.
And so I got that put up, and then I've seen one up there in near Manchester, Tennessee, up 24 up there in Tennessee, heading up there to Nashville. And I was riding along, and there's a truck area down through there. Before you get to the way station, there's a truck area on both sides of the road where trucks park and sleep, and there's a tree over to the left. The woods runs on to the left, and there's a few houses there on the right side and back off different areas down through there. And I look over, and this thing is huge. I mean, the tree is probably 4 foot wide. And the Bigfoot was just standing there holding his arms straight out horizontally, holding the tree, and the Bigfoot was probably about 4 foot wide. This thing was huge. It was black, and just standing there watching it go by. And this thing was huge. And I looked on the map the other day, and there's a creek that comes off, right, it ends up right there on the Google map. But on the right side, I was seeing there's a lot of trees that's been piled up in stacks on the right side where the trucks park off into the woods. And I've been seeing the black right there, black. Every time it seemed like there's black. There's like different places there. So I parked the semi there, and then I walked up, and then I took a video. I'm shooting video, and the whole time, and then later when I got home, I seen the video, and I slowing it down, and you could see the Bigfoot like a face and arms and hands and everything. And then I was like, that little area, how did that thing sneak around without me seeing it? I had no idea, but I got it on video. But go back down here to the Chattanooga one. When I was hiking in the rain by myself, I took that selfie next to that stick that I broke. I got home, I looked at that selfie, and there was two behind me. The bigger one was right behind me, about 20 feet. Then the smaller one, it was way back, looking through the trees and the foliage at me.
Wow.
Both of them black.
Can you send me this stuff?
Yeah, I can send you it.
Okay.
And both of them right there. So that was before I walked down there to the creek and casted that, went back to the car, drove it down there, cast it, all that stuff. So both of them knew they got to drop on me in the rain, And I've seen one. I was coming back from with a different company before. I was coming back from Missouri or someplace like that, and it was up there southwest of Nashville. And I was riding along the interstate there, and I was looking down towards the ride in the woods, and there was one down there staring straight up at me as I passed. And I pulled over and went back, and I couldn't find it, and I was so far off from my city that I had to keep going to get back in time.
Yeah.
And but I seen it down there looking at me. And that was southwest Nashville. And they're out there. I just seen a report the other day. There's all over Canada, but up there near Boston and in Massachusetts, isn't there a couple Indian tribes that was telling about Pugwudgies?
Yeah, I've heard it. Yes, I've heard that name before.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the cryptid up in that area. It's 2 to 3 foot high, and I'm pretty sure I got a video. I'll send it to you. It looked like a Pugwudgie. I used to live in a poltergeist like type apartment, and clocks would set themselves and all kinds of stuff. But I got a video, and it looks like a Pugwudgie jumping up and down my living room that I didn't see with my eye vision. But if you zoom in on it, that's what it kind of looks like. But I'll send you that video, but it's only about 2 or 3 inches.
Well, now, up in Massachusetts here, where I am, in central Mass, going to the west, I mean, I've heard so many reports, and I'm trying to get some people together to... And I know you have. You go out here in those places by yourself. I'm not so confident. I'm kind of... I kind of want to go with other people, and I want to go and investigate these places, but we've got a lot of reports around here that people just kind of blow off, and there's no one around here to kind of like really look into it and document it, like you're doing.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah, there's strange things out there. I kind of keep my head on a swivel, but I think they could have you if they wanted you.
Right.
The Bigfoot. And then I got a weird report that I was hiking in the same city I live in, Calhoun, Georgia. I want to tell you about this. I was hiking down this 3 Bigfoot, and I hiked down through this railroad track area, and I'm coming through the woods towards the creek. I was kind of running parallel with the creek, and I was coming through the wooded area. And I seen. Well, I felt it's like a scary experience of anxiety, and then I was looking around. I didn't see anything. I kept walking, and then a deer ran over. I mean, it was real close to me, and then I kept walking. And I come up on this very large tree there, and right to the left was the creek. And I seen 3 Bigfoot. I was kind of wanting to see one far away.
Right.
But here was 3. Right there close to me within about 25 feet. There was reddish brown color. And they were standing. You know how like some animals stand sleeping, so the predators, they can fight them off easier. They're not on the ground. They can, be
Right.
overtaken. They're easy. They were standing there about a foot and a half away from each other, and they all had their head down, facing each other. And when I come up on them, they all looked at me, and they had the real surprised look on their face, just as I did. I had the same surprised look on my face. And then I took a few more steps around that tree, and they was gone. They was vanished. There was nowhere to be seen. There was no footprints, no sound, no leaves moving anywhere. There was really nowhere they could have went in that short a period of time. And foliage was away, on the far side of the creek away, and there really wasn't nowhere they could have went. I was like, man, these things, if they could disappear that quick, I mean, it just took my Bigfoot experience and just all my hiking and all that stuff I was wanting to do just down the drain. If they can disappear like that, how am I going to get world's closest, longest video and stuff like that? But I've still experienced them. I've still seen them driving. I still had the experience, the wood knocks and the yells and all them sightings after that.
Now, have you got a good look at the faces of any of these things?
Just a few of them pictures I got. The first one that was running in South Carolina in 2013, I really didn't get a good look at his face. I just got a look at the side and the back.
Yeah, he was running with
body.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, he was running along the right side, the front right side of the fender. He could have just reached over and just touched the fender. I mean, that's how close he was. I mean, this is bright daylight, clear, running alongside the interstate. Other people had to have seen it. If they wasn't looking straight ahead, all the time, but other people had to have seen it. Just like these others, who knows? People might have seen those too. I might not be the only one.
Well, it's strange that they say that they're so elusive and stuff, yet you have like daytime sightings like that where they don't seem to be afraid to be seen. That confuses me.
Yeah, it's either early morning rush hour or afternoon, maybe around rush hour. It's usually I guess they figure everybody's looking ahead. They got to look ahead. They got to look at cars in front of them, and there's nobody can stop or going to stop, pull off on the side of the road or anything like that.
Now,
maybe.
Do you go out?
Maybe,
do you actually go out and investigate these things and go camping and stuff like that? Do you have any expeditions?
An expedition? Like I said, I took that guy from Wisconsin. John Fowler is his name. He can verify everything that happened in Chattanooga, Tennessee. When him and his now wife and his friend he grew up with, her name is Candy, I think it is, and they can verify everything in Chattanooga, and tell what kind of scope it was and all that stuff. And I took them on that expedition. I've had people come from around Atlanta into the Chattanooga area. I had one couple come in and we was crossing a log and across the creek, and the lady fell in. And then I've taken people on expeditions. We down around northeast of Atlanta. They come up and we went in certain areas looking for a cave system and everything. I do have another experience I can send you a picture of. I got a picture of it, the Bigfoot. It's a smaller one. It kind of reminds me of the one I got a picture of in near Manchester, Tennessee. It's kind of black. It's kind of the one that was real elusive. I had to look on my camera later just to see it in that short little area there, patch I was in. But this right here, it's the same thing basically. I was walking along, me and this girl was walking along from this water tower, and we was walking around close to where that cave system was, and we heard this loud whoosh, like that, real loud. And I had my hand on my pistol and jumped around, and nothing. Nothing. It's just like there's like 12-foot trees like right there's low brush all the way down through. There's all little small trees all the way down through there, real jam packed, real thick. And I said, "You hear that?" Yeah, she heard that. She seen me jump around because I was in front of her, and then we sat down there on the bank, and I think I said a few words, and I snapped some pictures, and I got home later where I can see those pictures and zoom in on them, and where the the sun is hitting your cell phone screen. And I zoomed in on it, and you can see the little Bigfoot down there looking, or whatever it was, looking up out of that tree line there. But I couldn't see it with my eyes, and it was dark. There was dark areas down through there underneath all those trees.
Yeah, it's when you go back later and look at these things. That we just did a video in Oklahoma a few months ago, and someone pointed out some kind of a figure in the background in one of my videos, and I'm looking at it on the phone. I can't see anything, but then when I put it on the desktop, you can kind of see something black, like about 100 yards away, like in the bushes, and I don't know if it moves or not, but this person said that they used a magnifying app, and they said they could see it move. And it's pitch black. This figure is like really, really black. I posted it on the Bigfoot Canada Facebook page, just so other people could analyze it. But it's blacker than anything around it, And I'm like, did I just capture? We also heard like vocalizations, and the guy that I'm with, he was a police officer down there in Oklahoma, and he's a researcher. And we heard a vocalization the second morning we were camping, and he said he had never heard anything like that before, and we think that it could have been a Sasquatch. I don't know, but I've never seen one yet, but I think that it sounds like that I've had some experiences. It's hard to tell, but if you've got photographs of this thing, definitely send them. I'll include it in the page.
I got a police officer that's on my side. He's over in South Carolina, I believe it was. And then I was over in that area. His area just happened to be unloading a load, and he come and showed me a 3-toed footprint, kind of elongated, and he said there's a lot of 3-toed prints over in that area.
That might be that could be a Dogman or something, right?
I'm not sure. It's I got a footprint. I think it's of a Dogman. It's pretty huge. It's probably about 12 inches, about 8 inches wide. It looked like a big bird print to me at first, but after seeing the Dogman there, like an hour south of there, it could have been a Dogman. It stepped in like a mud road.
Yeah.
Stepped across. That's up there in Chattanooga also, that same area.
Now you're familiar with Scott Carpenter, right?
I wish I would have casted that. I got Scott Carpenter on Facebook friends, and then I'm not sure. A lot of his work. We've been friends for a while, so I've probably ran across it many times.
I mean, he's in Tennessee, and he talks about Dogman a lot, so it seems to be a thing in that area.
Yeah, I talked to a guy in Tennessee. I think it's Tennessee or Alabama, one of them other. And I got his name and picture, and he said he was fishing out there in a boat in a lake. And he said he looked to the edge of the water, and he seen this Dogman over there just taking a drink out of the side of the pond. And that'd be something to see.
That would scare the hell out of me.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like Bigfoot. It turned my life around. Just seeing the first one, it was the most majestic, natural wonder, or the wonder of the world. That's what I describe it.
That's how I feel about it. Yeah,
the wonder of the world that everybody should see. I mean, that's how tall and majestic it looked. I mean, it was unreal.
So now this turned your life around. Did you like go into full-time research, or did you just keep your job and like you're just kind of doing it as a hobby kind of thing?
Yeah, I kept my job. I told my uncle in Ohio, I said, I really want to sell both my cars and put all my tax money in the bank account and just go exit to exit, and exit to exit maybe 30 miles or so. Come out when you get some food supplies or whatever, and carry GoPros front and back of me, and till I get the evidence I want, well, as close as long as video.
Yeah, some of the new GoPros are. And you're going to attach a mic to them and stuff. They're the best footage I get is on a GoPro.
Yeah, I did find out. I did have some GoPro. One kept turning on. You're supposed to voice activate it, turn it on. I think it's 7, and it kept turning on by itself. I didn't have no home computer to go with it, and I was looking at everything on that little screen at the moment, and I hadn't never got another one. If I had a dash cam October 2013, I'd have gave both my legs for it.
Yeah.
I've been world famous.
Yeah.
And that's clearest, longest, closest video. And they call. You can get a description of it from this guy in North Carolina. Look up a guy in North Carolina says Bigfoot, and they had him on the news and everything. The location is about an hour and a half above where I seen it. And they call it Nobby in that area. They gave it a name, Nobby. And the guy said he comes out about 3 o'clock in the morning. He came out in his yard, and it started to come up to his dog, and he told it to get, and everything. He left, and then he come back later, and he got all the way up here where the dog chain is, and the dog chain wrapped around his leg, and the Bigfoot pushed the chain off his leg. He was poking it in the chest. The guy who's poking in his chest, he'd been drinking. He's poking in the chest with about a 10-foot stick. He's saying, "Get out of here, get." Then it walked off in the woods and hit his head on the branch. That branch was 10 foot.
Is this on video?
No, but it's. I talked to him before. He said he's heard him before coming off the ridges right above where he lives. About a couple hours where he lives, he used to go up there and hunt where a bunch of wild boars was. He said you could hear him coming across the ridge and stuff like that. But he's up there in North Carolina. They call him Nobby up there. They give him a nickname.
Now, do you tell people about this stuff that you're working with, or do you just kind of keep quiet about it?
Yeah. Shoot you. I don't care. I stand up in front of a crowd of people, non-believers, that laugh at me all the time.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't care. I'll tell. I haven't seen anything yet, but I don't care about my belief in Bigfoot. I'll tell anybody. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
It's mostly city people that have never been in the country and don't have a closed mind.
Yeah, a lot of people think they can get on your nerves, or they want you to get out there and get proof for them or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't have to prove it. Nobody. I don't have to prove it to nobody. I've seen what I wanted to see before I passed away. Months before this, when I first seen the first one, I said, "Jesus Lord," I said, let's I said, let me see a Bigfoot and a UFO before I die. I said, it's kind of sort of a mild life,
Yeah.
And I got to see both of them within a few months. And I had a UFO. I had 2 UFO experiences. One looked like 3 football fields long. It flew across a mountain range up here near Chattanooga. And then I got a picture of a UFO I sent you. It's above the forest fires when we had forest fires down here in Tennessee. I got a picture of that one. Someone posted it. And I like zooming in on pictures. And I found the UFO as clear as day. And I told them, I said, look, you guys took a picture of a UFO. They were surprised that they seen it, that it was a UFO in that picture. I just filled up the semi close to where I seen that Dogman at, just a little bit further down the road. And I just filled the semi up with fuel, and then I was taking a left at a red light. I was going in between the Pilot and the TA, and the interstate's probably about 300 yards right up the road. And I had to stop. This like 50-foot round white glowing ball was on fire, and it coming down across the interstate, and it was coming down. Looked like, I said, I'm fixing to see a UFO crash right in front of me, right? And this thing stopped right there at power line height, and the fire went down side of it after it stopped. The fire went down the side and went down to the bottom center point and went out. And there was just a glowing white ball just sitting there, about 50-foot round. It lit up, and there's traffic was still, around, and both the fuel islands, both sides, and here it moved north, going in between. It had to go in between the Pilot, the TA, and the hotel that was there. It had to go in between. That's how low it was. And I sped up to get another look at it. I looked in between the TA and the hotel, so I could see it just crossing the far side of the parking lot where drivers drive semi and walk back and forth to the TA and park their trucks. It just crossed over the far side of that parking lot and crossed over the top of the tree line, right at the top of the tree line. And I said, somebody, a lot of people got a good look at it, probably, just like I did. I think that was May 2014. So there's a lot out there, and I don't know where they go, where they come from. A lot about them, but I know they can be on you and disappear, and they can be on you and before you know it. And someone said they've seen one. Basically, I just asked, what color was it?
Yeah.
Usually, all of them I've seen is either reddish brown, like a dead piney color, or a pitch black color.
Pitch black is what I usually associate it with. Down in Oklahoma, it always seems to be pitch black.
If you see a reddish brown one, in the dead pine needle trees and the dead pine needles, it'd be hard to spot.
Right.
And then also, if one's out in the woods, pitch black, it'd be hard to spot. At night, I drive the interstate and I look for them alongside inside the tree line. And sometimes I do see pitch black standing next to trees around Tennessee, right below Tennessee, Nashville, in that area, alongside the interstate at night. And they are blacker than night.
Right. I think that's probably for hunting purposes. That's why they're so black, because they're nocturnal and they can hunt at night. Maybe that's something to do with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're nocturnal too. Because the one in Chattanooga, the giant, he moved so quick through all that foliage and crossing creeks and rivers and everything to run by us. And then he went in the area that he went in, literally without any trails and through thick brush and everything, and positioned himself. You'd have to see at night. You'd have to be able to see at night.
Yeah. Well, that's some good encounters there.
Yeah, when I see them standing, they look. It's like a, I don't want to say possessed look, but they got dark eyes and they look at you, like statues sort of, and then they're when they're running, they look like they got personality, a little bit of personality to them.
Now, when they're running, does it have that? People talk about mechanical, like that mechanical look to them.
Yeah, not necessarily. The one in North Carolina looked. The young juvenile, he was running. He looked like he was. I got to look at him like someone running, laughing, having a good time.
Yeah,
like having a good experience. That's what he looked like. And the one that was running beside me in South Carolina, the first one, he I don't know. He was more or less, might have been presenting himself. He might have known me coming back through there certain days, I might have honked at him a few times when he might have not thought he was, in the foliage good enough,
Wow.
But along the interstates, I think that's where you're going to see them at. I seen a map the other day near Canada and above the Great Lakes, and they had on the map the dots where they've been seen, and there's along the interstates.
Oh yeah,
That's like the dog.
I think the moderator posted that on Bigfoot Canada.
Yep, and then there's like all the Dogman maps. A lady that's got the Dogman map. I can send you a link to it, and she's got a bunch of you zoom in on the map, and then you push on the red dots, the little red pins. You push on them, and then you can go down there and you can read the sighting.
All right.
And mine's Northwest Georgia. They're a truck driver, and they're basically along the interstates.
Huh.
One lady said that she was driving along. I think there's a couple, and they seemed to look like a guy crawling in the ditch on the right side. And when they stopped, and then they put their car over that area, pointing their headlights at it, it jumped 2 lanes and up on the side of a bank about 30 foot up, and then just finished crawling up the bank. And a guy here in Georgia at a store I go shopping at, somehow a lady said this guy up there at the counter works at the store. He said he's seen one, a Bigfoot. He was down this area down there in Northwest Georgia, and he's by this lake. There's partying. He steps over next to this tree. He's at night, and he's using the bathroom. And then he looks up, and all of a sudden he's looking at his Bigfoot. Bigfoot's looking down at him. And then about the time he turned, going to say something or something like that, it was gone. And he also seen 2 wolf men. One jumped over his entire truck, cleared his whole entire truck. I'm not sure if it was a small truck or a large truck. But they can clear stuff with springy legs and everything. See, a wolf can jump a long ways, and these right here got legs probably about as tall as 6 foot guy does, and probably a lot more. See, the wolfman down here, his chest looked like a human, and it looked like he was cut.
Right.
He had six pack, and abs and all this stuff, and he's like had long arms, and his whole upper mid body looked like a human, but he still had the springy legs,
Right. So
I'm about ready to.
So where can we find your Facebook page again? Do you want to tell people about that?
It's Appalachian Bigfoot and Dogman Research.
Okay, and
I do travel a little bit. I will travel a little bit, go investigate and everything. Mostly during the daytime. This might have to take a few drinks to go in at night because after you see a dog man, after you see a Bigfoot, it changes your whole point of view.
Yeah.
Did mine, and then after you see a wolf man, the whole point of view gets changed again.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
So
I've seen neither,
yep.
but I'm always on the lookout,
Yep. I still look for them all the time. I haven't seen one in, shoot, it must be over maybe a year, a little over a year, maybe. I usually don't count the ones that, I half see in the foliage, I think, or something like that. I usually just speak of the ones that I do see out and open clearly, standing or running out and open. Now, I see these breaks on the side of the interstate, the tree breaks. You'll be going along, there'll be a tree line. It's like a clean tree line, They mow alongside the interstate and everything is pretty much clean. And then all of a sudden you see this tree broke off out of the blue. And it'd be pointing towards the other side of the interstate. And I looked on my GPS on every tree break that I see like that. And there'll be like a little pond or a lake on the other side of the interstate where it's pointing. I think it's pointing to some kind of water source, maybe. I'm not sure if they walk across the interstate. That might be them. Could be the Wolfman. Could be the Bigfoot. I don't know, but they might walk across the interstate and break it, point it to the other direction where they come from. I'm not sure, but I know I look on my GPS and I always find the water source pointing away from the tree break.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, tell me.
And I have found little stick structures too. So.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of those yet. I've found a few tree structures and stuff. I just don't know what to make of that yet.
Yep, they're out there. I hope to head up to the Land Between the Lakes, LBL, sometime, and travel that area, and possibly get up in Ohio and my home state, drive around that area some. My dad said he's seen one. I know when I was a young kid, I had a Bigfoot experience up there. We was in an old house. The lane was so long, we'd ride a bicycle all the way up to the road and throw it in the high grass. When we get off the bus, we'd ride the bicycle back. And we was there during the daytime. We was listening to radio in the kitchen, and all of a sudden the music went off. All of a sudden a special bulletin come across. The guy said there was a Bigfoot sighting in an area, and where it was heading, where it was spotted at, where it's heading. I told my dad, I said, let's go look. And he said, it sounds like it's coming this direction. So I was kind of disappointed, we didn't go look. And so I was thinking, a Bigfoot, some crazy guy with, deformed or something out there living in the woods or something. No, this is like a giraffe or a hippo or a horse. It's his own creature, its own height and body. It's pretty much R-shaped, but his own height and own weight and all that stuff. He could be tall, That's why one of the reasons I think, they haven't been captured or whatever by locals is because they're so tall, fast. The one I seen in South Carolina, the first one, I said, man, he could run over 4 mountains. Well, he'd probably even tire out. And so anyway, with that night up there in Ohio, when I was a kid, that when it got dark, we started smelling this real bad smell. And my dog, we lived on a farm. My dad had some hunting dogs, and they was choking. You could hear them outside choking at the collars and everything, wanting to get off their chains. And you could hear that. We had the lights shut all the lights off, and you could hear that Bigfoot outside, just like a long, heavy, deep breathing. And so my dad, he went outside with a gun, and then he came back in, and then I think what the story goes that he got us out in the truck. We went to town, my mom and me and my sister, and the next day we was missing a dog. We was missing a hunting dog, and my dad, he come down from Ohio, and he told me, that he had seen one. So he was watching Bigfoot on TV, and he said he was riding to this nearby town with his buddy, and he said he looked over and he seen it's huge. When he says he really means it, he starts to stutter and his eyes get real big and everything. So he was making them gestures, and he said his buddy wouldn't turn around. He was wanting to turn around. His buddy was driving. He said, he wouldn't turn around to cut him off on this little road. So he was laughing at him and everything. And we went to where they was needing to go. He was coming back. He said, where's that Bigfoot at? And the guy, the driver, and my dad said, he's done gone now. He said, but he was big. Seriously, he was big. I know what he's talking about. But later on in his life, I don't know, why he reneged on his story that he said that he didn't see one. I don't know if everybody's giving him slack, and everything, and he's a different kind of person, but I've seen all these, and I know they're in Ohio and all these other states, and I hope everybody gets out there and keeps their eye out for them, because they got to cross these roads somewhere. There's roads everywhere.
Yeah, these things seem to be everywhere, every state, from what I've heard.
Yeah, because Indians used to move around too. They can't stay in the same area and deplete the food source. They got to go other places. Even if they do deplete the food source, they still got to go other places.
Yeah.
But keep your eye out for reddish brown and pitch black.
Yep, for
and
sure.
They do stand out and open and don't care. So I've seen several of them do that. Not a care in the world.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, Tony, listen, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it, and I'll keep an eye out on your stuff on your website. And send me those videos and pictures if you can. I can put them up on the YouTube page.
Okay, I'll do that. And you might be able to run this with this audio with the pictures and everything.
Maybe. I don't know if I'm that savvy, but I'll try.
Yeah. I appreciate it. This, getting the word out there, and some researchers spend all their lives looking for them, and here I get so lucky to see all these, that many.
Yeah.
And my story's gonna be out there forever.
Exactly.
As long as we got these electronic devices and internet and everything, people can listen to this and listen to where I can tell them where I seen them at. They can go look for themselves and see if you can find some signs and get you one of those Nikon P1000s. They can shoot all the way to the moon. They got a long zoom on them.
Yeah.
And I plan on getting one of those. You can shoot in 4K. You could sit up on top of a mountainside and shoot down into all these tree lines, about 4 or 5 miles, 10 miles away, and get some 4K video. A dash cam is a good thing to get if you're pointing it off to the side, or like at an angle, at least at an angle towards the tree line. And in case you do ever see one. So I got to go.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
All right, I appreciate it.
All right, Tony, speak to you soon.
All right, see you.
All right, bye, man.